Do your colleagues and team members trust you? You may say, yes, of course they do. But do you really know? Do you know what your reputation is as a leader in your organization? In today's video, I want to talk about 8 behaviors that build trust between you as a leader and your team members. Because if you have trust, you have more openness, you have better communication, and you get better results. I'm Morgan Quist, I'm your Thrival Guide, and I partner with people, specifically leaders in organizations, to help them shift from surviving to thriving in their careers. Let's talk about the first behavior that builds trust, and that is to increase your self-awareness. And if you watch my videos, I talk about this a lot because it's such a critical step on improving our role as a leader in an organization or really in anything that we do. Do you know what thoughts and beliefs are driving your behaviors? Do you know when you're operating from your ego and when you're not? And if you are self-aware, you have a sense of how you're perceived as a leader. My other videos talk about how to increase your self-awareness, so I'm not going to go into that today, but this is a very important first step. The second behavior is bettering yourself, and that is always to be working to be a better leader, to increase our emotional intelligence, and always have that continuous improvement mindset. And that's a great role model behavior for your team members as well. So that was number 2. Number 3 is admitting mistakes. If you don't feel comfortable admitting your mistakes, then your team members aren't going to feel comfortable admitting mistakes either. And it becomes this fear factor, and people can avoid conversations in which they don't feel comfortable with an assignment because they feel like, or they don't feel comfortable admitting that they need help. And there's also difficulty with holding people accountable if there's not some openness about admitting mistakes. So that's important too. Number 4 is allowing disagreement. Having healthy dialogue, allowing team members to disagree with you and to disagree with each other. So there's good conversation about what the problem is, what the possible solutions are, what innovative ideas can help us make this product better. Allowing great, dialogue and disagreement is really important. Number 5 is soliciting feedback. And even if you think you've got great relationships with your team members, specifically your direct reports, it's hard for direct reports to give feedback to their managers. So I encourage you to identify 2 or 3 great open-ended questions that you ask your team members on a regular basis. And you can use your one-on-one meetings for this. But ask them questions like, how can I help you be more successful in your role? What barriers exist for you to be more successful with your projects? What can I do more of or less of to help you grow in your career? And think of some questions that you ask regularly and take action on, and that will build trust and really affect employee engagement. Number 6 might be really obvious, but it has a lot of nuances to it, and that is to be honest. And that can have an effect on things like, and perceptions like, do we say and do our thoughts and do our actions match up? Do we follow through on what we say we're going to do? Are we as candid and transparent as we can be with our team members? That's the whole be honest area that will really affect trust and engagement. Number 7 is to encourage individuality and to support that with your team members. Sometimes as leaders, we think if we treat everyone the same, that that's the most fair thing to do. And it doesn't work because you've got team members that have different personalities and different strengths and different preferences on how to be recognized or rewarded for good work. So really understanding that about each of your team members and encouraging them to be themselves and leveraging their individual strengths. That's a huge part of the leadership and team member dynamic. The last one, this might be really obvious too, but we're not always very good at it, and that is to actively listen. Sometimes as leaders, we get so busy that when we're meeting with our team members, we're thinking about the next meeting or the next presentation, or we're quick to solve their problems. Instead, we can practice being in the present moment with our team members and actively listening to what it is they have to say. Think about how that can really build trust and affect engagement. So instead of solving their problem quickly, you're asking them open-ended questions that help them think through the problems and the solutions. So that was really quick. Those are 8 behaviors that I suggest to build trust. I'll write them down next to this video. I encourage you, as always, to write questions or comments. I'm Morgan Quist. I'm your Thrival Guide, and I partner with leaders and organizations to help them shift from surviving to thriving. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.